Hey, Laura, you want to talk? You want to teach something one day? All right.
No,
Topics.
I'm afraid of it.
I'm afraid. Fearlessness. Topics. We're going to talk about object styles, line styles, workaround and tips, and dealing with the details. Do we all know what the object styles are? Because straight from the help file, it's a little easier to do this than to talk. So there you go. Object styles. Command specific line, blah, blah. Yeah, you can read it. Okay. Essentially, this is your layer standards file. I used to say it's just your layers, but that's a misnomer. It is as though your layer standards file, especially if you set up the seed files that I've been talking about. You're able to force line weight control down to any project anywhere, and I really like that. What you need to know is that object styles are project based, so that means that you have to load them into each project or load them into the template, protect them in each project. You've got to know where they should be saved and when they should be overridden and who has access to what, all of those pieces. So within object styles, I'm going to talk about creating object styles, subcategories. I'm going to talk about modifying object styles, deleting object styles, and then renaming object styles. Anybody know what these are actually looking at? Oh, that's your personal install of Revit's help file. So when you pull that documentation down from the website, and no, it's not up there. I was like halfway done with it. I started the webinar right now and then haven't finished. Sorry. It will be up there. And by the way, I am recording today. That does have the button. Okay. So if you want to learn more about this stuff, you can actually jump right into the help file. Let me get into a Revit project so that we can figure out object styles. Of course, I'm always showing you cool stuff now. Since this tower we're working on is pretty cool. But that's not the issue. We want to look at object styles. Okay, what are our object styles? How does this door look? How does this tag look? How does the line weight of this look? And why is that not cleaning up? Well, if we look at visibility graphics, this is not object styles, but this is view-specific overrides of the default object styles. View-specific overrides of the default object style. If you watched last week's view templates and my views, that's what you should be doing here. But you, as managers, are dealing with the object style level of Revit. And this should be all the default object style level of Revit. Woohoo. I'm fairly sure, Laura, you're disagreeing with me on not leaving these the same and changing the line weight, which is manage settings line weights. That's what you guys did, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm a proponent of you have to change one or the other. You must change. Here's the only reason why I bring it up, and please take this with a huge grain of salt or lots of grains of salt. I don't know. Take it as you will. Line weights you don't necessarily have to manage. If you come into this dialog box, and as soon as you click here and go 3.5, boom, ownership issue. Does that make sense? Now, at this point, I always have to think about my line weights from here until the death of Revit, which may it not come too soon. Ownership issues, you understand what those are from the AutoCAD world because you have managed your line style, your line weights, you have managed your objects, you've managed your blocks, you have mismanaged your block library, you have managed some blocks in your block library. All of these things all pour down into ownership issue. If you get into a dialog box in Revit and you change something within that, you have decided that you are going to pick up that stone and add it to your suitcase of responsibility. And there's only so much room in there. So that's my entire point. Now, if you want to manage it because it's easier for you to manage both, great, do it. You don't have to manage this, though. You will, at some point, have to come into object styles, though. And that's why I say do object styles instead of line weights, is because now I'm not managing something I didn't have to manage, but I decided to. And there are very many reasons to decide to do that, by the way. So I'm not saying bad choice. I'm saying it's an ownership issue. If you want the ownership, go for it. If not, then don't. Object style, it's dialog box. This is the default object styles for Revit. Most people don't like them. So at very minimum, what I know a lot of companies do is basically come through here, expand out all of them, and start bumping them all up from 1 to 2. And all I'm using is my keyboards, and I'm trying to hit them loud enough so that you can hear it. So I'm just basically taking the default and bumping the whole defaults up by 1. Because the line weight right there for my grid line, that's a 1. It's almost impossible to see. It is tiny. And, oh, I've got one thing I can show you on the website. Mementos, while I grab that. Because this is one of those things you should be pulling down from my site, which is log in, of course. And after I log in, I go to the management class, go to green board, and look, default line weights. Okay, that's a Revit file, by the way, that actually shows you the default line weights. Just a bunch of lines that I set up with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's one resource. There will be more coming up there pretty quickly, because I have to do all these things now. This is awesome. Okay. So back to the settings, object styles. First thing about object styles is that the 1, the 2, the 5, the 3, that all correlates to settings, line weights. So at a 1, that's what it's supposed to look like at that particular scale. So there's the tie between the 2 dialog boxes. That's why I brought that up early. Object styles. The color of the line does not matter, right? Because it's not controlling line weight anymore. If you do color prints, then yeah, maybe it does. Otherwise, not so much. Object styles are, well, based off of the object themselves. Casework, ceilings, columns, hidden lines. So I can bump the hidden lines up or the columns up for my project, and then every column will expand a little bit in line weight issue. Let's look at our door as a good example here. Visibility graphics. No. Remember, visibility graphics is view specific, but I can jump up to the management side of it by doing object styles. Same dialog box as if I go to settings. Object styles. Boom. Let's go find my door. I'm trying to keep it out of the way so I can see stuff. Doors. I'm going to bump up my door line weight to 4 and 4, and I'm going to change it to blue. Okay. Just to prove that I know that it is what I'm supposed to be doing, right? Apply. So in the background, the door turned blue, right? No. Why didn't it turn blue? Let's do that again. I'm fairly sure that's the door category. It is a door. Okay, that's the first question. Second question, settings, object styles. I said that I want my doors. Oh, I chose ducts. Oh, okay. Let's make sure we get the first category. Let's make doors blue. Okay, apply. Woohoo! Nothing happened. Okay, let's bump up the line weight. Maybe it's a line weight issue. Let's keep it at blue. Okay, apply. Okay, nothing is happening here because I am modifying it at the category level. Remember that overarching, like, Revit is based off of categories and families and types and instance, that hierarchy? Same hierarchy is dealt with within the family, the category,